Hey, welcome to Lab, the podcast. Good to be back with Wendy Kieffer, our V3 Conservatory poet, and doing Poetry Corner. Last time we were here talking about the living room and the fact that we started like 2023, I think, with Poetry Corner, and then evolved to being able to do this regularly. So I love it that you're listening in, and we've heard back from lots of people that this has become one of their favorite things that we get to do on Lab, the podcast. So Wendy, thank you for being here again. And
My
for
pleasure.
being a poet. Yeah.
Yeah,
We are
great.
holiday season. So like full swing. We were talking about decorations and turkeys and Christmas and all of that. What's something that happens during this holiday season from Thanksgiving all the way through the new year that is really special to you and your kids?
I think just having time together. I love it when the schedule clears. We don't tend to go a lot of places where it's like, okay, kids, now pack your bags and we're going to go do more scheduled things. We tend to just let the calendar bleed out and spend time together and wake up late and slow down.
Yeah.
I need to slow down.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going a million miles a minute. So I'm looking forward to just having some time with family, with friends, and keeping that pace a little more manageable.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you needed permission to stop and blow up your schedule, here it is. And it's there's no coincidences. We get to put some, like a bend in the river, right? Frederick Buechner says time is moving like a river. You can't stop it, but you can bend it, and we should. And Advent is kind of a season where you get the whole thing is about bending time and entering into a time where we are anticipating something that's coming in the future. We're very present in that expectancy and anticipation. So it's really beautiful. I grew up with that tradition in our church. It was very explicitly a part of the church's calendar year. We followed a liturgical calendar. So growing up, that was a part of our life is to celebrate a really slow movement during the Advent season. It would lead to Epiphany and all of the turn in the church calendar. So that was a part of my childhood. Was any of that a part of your childhood?
No, but I mean, Christmas was very magical. So it was always something we looked forward to. My parents went all out, and it was a very magical time. I mean, maybe a little consumer driven, a lot of gifts, but very magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the table is one of those places where when we blow up the schedule, when we finally get to, shut down, come home early, have a couple days off, that it seems like the table takes back some of the place that it was meant to have in our homes. That's one of the things I love about the holidays is that we still do orient back to these really fundamental things that give us so much life and beauty. And I love the Gospels, food and breaking bread and sharing fish and eating together. That was very much the way that some of the most beautiful parts of the gospel story are found in those really remarkable, ordinary things that happen around the table. So that was the focus for this podcast and even for this poem, thinking about the holiday season, bending the river, slowing time down, and that really wonderful, enchanted thing that happens at a table. So we're going to use a poem from Alchemy of Praise, your poetry collection that we love. So if you've not got a copy of Alchemy of Praise, grab it. One of the wonderful things we get to do, if you want better poets, you need better audiences. That's something that we've championed for a long time that Dana Joy has said. And I think that's true. So if you haven't picked up a copy of Alchemy of Praise, grab it. And we need to keep buying poetry and keep supporting the creation of great new poetry. And this is a collection like that. So take us into the poem that you chose for this moment, this bend in the river. And like usual, we'll read it and then we'll get to kind of enjoy it. I was thinking about how we don't want to cut apart poetry and like make it fragmented and like cut it all to pieces and try to understand it. That's not really the point. But there is something beautiful about listening to it and then reflecting on it. So maybe we can do that.
That sounds great. I love your thoughts on the table, and I think that's what prompted me to write this, is that it felt like the sacred is taking place at a table. And this was me actually reflecting on a holiday that we shared in my family, in my home. a few years ago, it stuck out to me because it was so beautiful the way we were gathered for Hanukkah, actually. Is it Hanukkah? It was Hanukkah. And so we are both Christians, but we also observe the Jewish holidays. And I remember having my friends and gathered around, and everyone was singing and erupting into these songs, and there was laughter and games and music, and it wasn't just um,
Mm,
so contained. It was really playful
mm,
and beautiful. And my brother was there who did not have faith at the time. And I just remember seeing, what would this look like from his eyes? What does this feel like to be surrounded by all of this
mm.
kind of music and vivacity? So that's where this poem was born, literally around a holiday table at my house. So
You just sparked a thought before we read the poem. We have a Christmas party, like a little
hmm
open house every
yeah.
year, and we had a similar experience. I had almost a similar experience. We sing at the end of the, like, kind of the closure of the night. Everybody's singing,
hmm
and I was thinking last year how strange it might be for someone who has not been around a tradition like that. It's just
hmm
not maybe as normal as it used to be. And
Right.
I'm reading a phenomenal book, Paul Kingsnorth's Against the Machine, which
Mm.
is a tremendous book.
Wow.
And in there, he was reflecting on a moment that he had where he began singing with a group of people. And at
Mm.
first, he was kind of like, oh, what are we doing?
hmm
And then the sadness that hit him was he realized that everybody was singing. They had chosen to sing something traditional from their culture, because it was
Mm.
kind of a whole
Right.
group of different people from all different parts of the world. And people started singing these traditional folk songs, these traditional things that had come up out of their culture. And he
Mm.
realized that he didn't necessarily have
Have it.
one.
Yeah.
There wasn't something that he would choose to sing that
Right.
reflected his culture. And it was really shocking to him and
Mm.
unsettling that that had not been a part of his life. So I
Yeah.
love that that was a part of your kids' experience,
hmm
and how wonderful for family to get kind of a glimpse into something other.
It's
That's really
right.
cool.
Yeah. No, that's very true. And there is something that unites you when you're singing. That
Yeah.
literally you're all occupying the same breath and the same frequency and the same vibration of music in your body, and it's just very unifying
Mm,
and beautiful.
mm,
And this is called, very simply, the table. The table is a field your laughter races across to find mine, rolling through the wheat beneath our crescent eyes, so full of stars. Your shoulders shake, breath caught in a quake of joy. Steam rises to meet our tears from bread broken in bliss. This is our song, born of a long history of fire and cloud, grateful mouths open wide for miracles, for sustenance, for the yield of light and water woven through soil and seed. Steeped in the candle's amber, night pressing against the windows, we clap and pound the rhythms of what it means to be human.
mm,
And I see, gathered around me, the salty, the sweet, the silly, the deep, breaking and sharing pieces of ourselves, drinking distillations of who we are and where we've been. You lean in, smile impish and wide, and embellish a story that warms our bellies. Our table is a stage, and all the parts are set until we reach a different age.
mm.
But key players are missing, and a name spoken hangs in silence as all that he was quivers in the mind's eye. Tonight we sit at an altar next to holy hands that have kneaded, mixed, and measured love, folding it into every bite. Nana Sterling presides over an offering of fire as we taste and see that the Lord is good. And all the flavors mingling on our tongues, the saltiness of tears, the bitterness of history, the blessings in our glasses, eternity's lilt in our laughter will ring in the mouths of little ones as they tumble through the years. The table is the edge at which we soften our own. We are light and diaphanous as the lace that grazes our knees, so please pass the suspension of task and venture. Lend me your immortal eyes, and pour me the wine, rosy and bright as your cheeks.
Mm. So beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love that when we get to do your poems, because poetry, we love it, and from every different era. But this is fresh bread,
Hmm.
right? Like it just feels like there's something fresh to
That's
that
great.
just came.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Yeah, and it's again, the brilliance for me of reading it is just that I lived it,
Mm.
and to be able to crystallize that moment, to be able to put it to words in some way and to try to capture that night. It feels good. It feels like you kind of immortalized the moment as a
Yeah.
writer too. Yeah.
No, you captured it even with the way that you move through all of the elements that make
Mhm.
that moment from the steam rising from bread to please pass me, this disruption of time and all these
Yeah.
things that are happening in the way that you describe it. You did capture and immortalize the moment that we're at a table.
Right.
It's beautifully done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can yeah, I feel like I'm hogging the book, but you probably know it.
No,
Do you wanna
I love it. I mean, I have so many thoughts. I'll let you start with
Yeah.
just the way that when you think about that moment,
Mhm.
was it difficult almost to translate it into words because there was so many things that you were trying to be precise about
Mhm.
and to capture without giving it all away, or
Yeah.
did it flow naturally?
I think it just flowed. I had an old iteration of this poem, and then I took that and sort of just chiseled away at it and added all the layers of this particular night.
Mm,
So it already had a little bit of a framework before I started. And yeah, I think the thing that is effective is that whenever you deal with abstractions, so our table is a stage and all the parts are set. Now we're talking about something much more general and broad, and maybe we get into a couple of things that are less concrete. But if you anchor it in the table, the cup, the candles, you're kind of anchoring it so you can go a little abstract and then come back down to those anchoring points. So the table is a field. Your laughter races across to find mine,
mm,
and they're rolling through the wheat. So the idea is just that very charged energy coming at one another through laughter, and how that just echoes and bubbles up into quaking shoulders. And
mm,
I have a friend actually whose shoulders quake when he laughs,
mm,
and he's got big, broad shoulders, and he's Bosnian. He's already like, just a character, and he's like, he. And he does this shaking. So he found his shoulder shake found his way into this poem.
yeah.
But that idea that there's joy, laughter erupting as bread is broken,
Mm,
and that this is our song. As the song comes out, it's born of a long history of fire and cloud. That's the idea that as we're singing these Israeli songs, as we're singing these very old songs that do unite a people group around a certain history. I mean, the Hanukkah is the story of, the historical story of the Maccabees and fighting for their religious freedom. And so you're kind of like, you are taking this tradition, and it feels really important. And
mm,
I think a lot of Americans
mm,
do feel divorced from those things that are very rich and very old and very rooted.
mm,
And so to have that long history kind of is where your song is erupting out of
mm,
is magical,
mhm,
important, and a little more hard won for, I think, Americans, because you come over and you leave everything behind, and it creates a little bit of a rootlessness.
mhm,
Um, but it says, our song, born of a long history of fire and cloud, grateful mouths open wide for miracles. And so Hanukkah is a celebration of the miracles, the miracle of the candles, the oil lasting for the 8 nights when there was
mm,
only enough oil for one. And so our mouths are opening for those miracles, for the sustenance. So we say prayers over the food, that God has brought the food forth from the earth and it's here. That the yield of light and water woven through soil and seed, like
mm,
this is what is here, and it's gonna occupy our mouths in a blessing before we eat. And then steeped in the candles amber, obviously, because it's Hanukkah, the candles are lit. And I think that's a memory that my kids will carry with them, is just the light from the candles.
sure.
The fire will go with them. It's
Mm,
very understated. I don't think we need a lot in our holidays. We've kind of come to be like bigger, better, brighter. But candles on the interior of when it's a dark, wintry
mm,
night are so powerful.
yeah.
And we'll have like 6 menorahs going, 6 Hanukkahs going.
Mm.
Um, so the candles are going. Night is pressing against the window, again, personifying night, that there's this, threat. This darkness is always sort of threatening and pushing in, but that light is blazing in
Mm,
spite of it. We clap and pound the rhythms of what it means to be human. And I think that's what I wanted to capture, is everyone just clapping and banging on their knees and singing, and it's just erupting
mm,
and going around the room.
mm.
And there was a wildness to it
Yeah.
that was really fun. And I see gathered around me the salty, the sweet, the silly, the deep. I mean,
Mm.
that's anybody's table, right?
Yeah.
Like, all kinds of people. And then breaking and sharing pieces of ourselves. This is a little bit of a kind of a touch on the Eucharist, that idea somehow that we are taking each other in, and that
Mm,
we are sharing, we're distilling these moments in our lives. We're telling stories, we're sharing the important moments of our lives. And somehow when we hear it, we're kind of drinking it in,
mm,
taking it in
mm,
somehow. And that warms us, and that warms our souls, warms our hearts, warms our bellies. The table is a stage, and all the parts are set until we reach a different age.
mm,
And I think that's true. I think that we do play a certain part, a certain role, and suddenly you find yourself in a different role. Suddenly,
mm.
it's that moment when you have children and then you're watching a movie and you're no longer identifying with the main character, you're
Yeah.
identifying with the parent.
Yeah.
You make a switch.
Mm,
But it happens gradually, and suddenly you realize it. Key players are missing,
mm.
and a name spoken hangs in silence, as all that he was quivers in the mind's eye.
Yeah.
I think everyone can feel that empty chair,
Mm,
that empty spot at the table. And as you get older, there's more empty spots.
mm, mm.
And so those holiday moments remind us of those that we've lost. And the older you get, I think you have the more that you carry with you. Yeah.
Yeah. There's more.
Mm-hmm. Tonight we sit at an altar next to holy hands that have kneaded, mixed, and measured love. I think there's something very holy about the table. You mentioned that it's spoken of often in the scriptures, in the gospels, in even the hope that's to come. You will sit at a table and dine with him.
Mm,
This is just, there is a holiness to it because it has been prepared. It is sustenance, it is connection, it is the sacred ordinary, the sacred everyday.
yeah.
And I know that we've all had those meals where you literally feel the love, like the service of making the meal. You're eating something that was made with love,
Mm,
as opposed to, let's say, going to a restaurant or something where you're buying something. There is a difference in how you receive it.
mm.
It's very beautiful. Nana Sterling presides over an offering of fire as we taste and see that the Lord is good. We have the candlesticks from my husband's grandmother, and they called
Wow.
her Nana. And all the flavors mingling on our tongues. This is a little touch on some of the other holidays like Passover, the saltiness of tears, the bitterness of history. There's moments in those holidays where you are dipping your herb into salt water to taste the tears of your ancestors, to be reminded of their suffering, and to be reminded of the history and that bitterness. You can take the bitter herbs into your mouth and
Mm,
embody that for a moment. And I think that's just beautiful, beautiful part of our Passover celebrations. The blessings in our glasses, eternity's lilt in our laughter. There is something that lightens our load when we keep eternity in mind.
mm,
Our laughter is loosened. And I feel like there is some of the heaviness that is lightened with eternity in mind. And that will ring in the mouths of little ones as they tumble through the years. All of that,
mm,
all of the song and the clapping and the eating and the bitterness of the thing and the lights and all of it goes with our children in whatever holiday celebration that you create at your table. That goes with your children.
mm,
And they remember the essence of it and the songs and the flavors
mm,
and the silver and all of it.
mm.
It's amazing. And then finally, the last stanza of the table is the edge at which we soften our own. We are light and diaphanous as the lace that grazes our knees. You've mentioned often that we're porous
Mhm.
beings, that we're
Mm,
not just hard, that we allow things in and out, and that, our very skin is porous and our
mhm.
something about our essence. And I think this is not at every table. Some tables can make you feel like you need to harden yourself
Yeah.
because maybe there are blows coming and you are not enjoying the company as much. But in this setting, it's so easy that you let down your guard and you're laughing and you realize that you're very light,
Mm.
like lace. So please pass the suspension of task and venture. Again, you asked me my favorite thing about the holidays is just take that calendar and I don't want to
Yeah.
don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
lend me your immortalize, remembering there's no mere mortals and
Mm.
these people that we're with are the most important thing that we could possibly be doing with our time.
Yes.
And pour me the wine,
Mm.
rosy and bright as your cheeks.
Mm.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Kieffer, and I am honored and overjoyed to share with you my debut poetry collection, Alchemy of Praise. I chose the word alchemy for the title because it represents transformation, and especially the kind that is magnificent or mysterious and even inexplicable. Also, alchemy represents the kind of change that is possible through poetry, taking beauty from ashes and the way it lives inside of us, transforming the way we see or perceive our world. And you'll find in this collection a variety of themes, poems on wonder and stillness, poems that exalt God and lift our eyes up, and also poems that explore the interior spaces of the soul. All of these I offer to you with love and deep gratitude. You can find your copy on Amazon. And here's to allowing poetry to do as Jana Joya said, to awaken, amplify, and refine our sense of being alive. Thanks again.
Read that line about the table as a stage.
Our table is a stage, and all the parts are set until we reach a different age. But key players are missing, and a name spoken hangs in silence as all that he was quivers in the mind's eye.
It's so beautifully written. I think first, probably lots of you listening, there is an empty spot, right? There's moments in the holiday where everything is good. We're all celebrating. And yet we feel that other thing. And sometimes we don't know what to do with it. And I think it gets to be there too. And I like that this is a commingled experience of, we just get to say yes to it, and we get to say yes to the whole thing. And even back to the players part. And this is what I love about the even alchemy of praise, the transmutation of something, taking this thing and baptizing it, and it becomes something else. And we've been talking about the remarkable ordinary again, Buechner again, and just the reality that we long for that moment to be inside it. I think even as we listen to you describe it, there's probably many of us who go, man, I didn't grow up at a table like that. I don't have a lot of memories of those. I so want that for my family, but it feels like I'm fighting screens or chasing to try to accomplish that. And I think I just want to say that's okay. Yes, that's the reality. And don't beat yourself up if you're like, I didn't have it. Don't beat yourself up if you say it's hard fought to get it.
Yeah.
I think what we want to do is stir up and provoke that longing and emphasize that something really sacred is taking place at the table. And that again, poetry unfolded this moment, immortalized this moment, captured this moment to say, pay attention.
Right.
Look what's about to happen at the table. And it's probably about to happen at your table too. And so if we could enter into it, I think sometimes I wish that I could have been an actor or played a part in a performance where it's on stage. I love Broadway. I love to, and I think sometimes I'm watching a Broadway performance and I think, oh, it'd be so fun to be a part of that, like the energy of that performance and to share a story like that. And I think, what if we sat down and took our place at the table? And we knew that we're about to enter into this thing that we say, I'm not an artist or whatever, but yet we are entering into this moment where something's going to come alive and everything like that you're just describing is happening. And so don't enter your table passive as like, oh, what, enter it active to step into that and to play your part in the discussion, in the passing of some bit of you, right? Like that's so rich.
Yeah.
That's the invitation. Don't beat ourselves up for what we haven't had. Don't lament that it's so hard. We can be honest that it is. We can confess that. But yet, what's the one small thing we can do to maybe enter into our table and recover or uncover some
Mhm.
of what's already there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about some really famous, beautiful Christmas poems that would be great to read around the table or when
Mm.
everyone's finished. We were talking about Tolkien. He has a poem called Noel.
Mm-hmm.
It's so gorgeous and so easy to read, and it has a wonderful iambic pentameter to it. And it's just a great storytelling poem about the moment Christ is born and hope comes
Yeah.
into the world. It'd be a great Christmas poem for
Can I
anyone
just
listening.
say,
Yeah.
by the way, to underscore that, and the singing too,
Yeah.
it is weird. I'll just tell you, I have kids. We have real kids who live in 2025,
Hmm.
and they're pretty used to this because we do these things at our home. And yet sometimes I still feel like I have to like step into that moment, right? And if you're with me, you probably have felt this where you've wanted to say something, you've
Mm.
wanted to pray something,
Mm.
you've wanted to read something,
Yeah.
and you feel like we just get sheepish,
Right.
and it's not going to go over well. It's not going to land. It's not going to be right for that moment. And I just want to encourage you, grab this. We'll maybe put a link to this poem from Tolkien, right? Like there's these things that we can
Yeah.
just bring in, and they don't have to be perfect. We don't have to win
Mhm.
the day for every
Mhm.
single thing, but sing the song,
Yeah.
read the poem, say the prayer,
Mhm.
have that moment where you do toast, you do bend time a little bit,
Yeah.
and don't feel like you have to do it perfectly, right?
Right.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
no, you're reminding me of Little Women. I mean, I never read
Mm.
the book, but I saw the movie. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And just the putting on plays and I mean all of the creative energy that was bubbling up at all the holidays and it was beautiful in that movie.
Yeah. What is
Just
it to be human?
yeah,
The
and what
glory of God is man fully alive. I
mhm.
think in these moments where we're remembering,
Mhm.
I think if God looks down and sees a table where everyone has a place
Mm.
and there's no poverty at that table and people are passing and sharing bits of them and there's an openness and a love and even a generosity to for a moment suspend our judgment or suspend our war
Mm.
from that political divide or that person who didn't call us back when they were supposed to, or those
Right.
little debts that we stack up and hold each other accountable
True.
to, like for a moment to just have like jubilee and like no more debts. The only
Yeah.
outstanding debt is love at that table. And
Mm.
everything else is like wiped clean. I'm going to cry saying that.
I
Like
love
it's
that.
so possible.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that.
but you have to step into that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Make a choice for that and, really pray into that and prepare for that. If you have people coming to your home or you're going to a home. And I mean,
Mm.
I didn't grow up with all these traditions that I can hold on to either. So this is kind of special for me in that I get to create it.
Yes.
I get to choose what is my home going to be like and what are my children going to remember and pass on. And so for those of you that, don't have that one Christmas tradition or we all got matching pajamas and we rode on bikes or I don't know,
Mm.
everyone has these traditions. If you don't have that or you didn't have that um, this year, even just reading a poem,
Let's
maybe
go.
it's the same poem every year and your kids remember it because, oh yeah, that's when my dad would bust out that
Yep.
poem.
Yep.
And I've heard it every year now for the last 10 years. And I'm going to read that to my kids
That's right.
at our Christmas table. So here's to new traditions and new beauty and art finding its way to saturate those moments, to punctuate them, to lift us up a little higher.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think that's the hope, right, for V3, the life and beauty of the gospel.
Yeah.
And we say it that it happens. The impact of our ministry is that if your table comes alive like that, and somebody has
Mhm.
a place, right, then
Yeah.
that's been the impact. And so,
Yeah.
I was talking to Cami a while ago just about. I love Joanna Gaines' work, and she's a great person. She's done a great job. And our world tends to not pay attention to beauty as much as we need to, but she's done a great job of making that central, right, and becoming the next figure to curate those things very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
But I was commenting to Cami that we also need kind of help. She's done such a good job helping us
Mhm.
with how to set a table or how to
Right.
do this. And sometimes we just need help, right? We don't know what poem to read. We don't know how to
Yeah.
pray. We don't
Right.
like, we just need that person to help us. And there's so much more that goes
Mhm.
into a table than just the aesthetic. The aesthetic's important, but
Yeah.
it's all that life and beauty. So if you're listening to this, I really do want to say V3 is a resource.
Yeah.
email us and say, hey, I want to read a poem. I just listened to this podcast. I want to read something, but I don't know what to read.
Yeah.
Email Wendy
Yeah.
at vuvivo.com. Reach out to Riley, reach out to any of us, and let us help point you in a direction of something that was meaningful to us. I would love that. Or how to pray. I don't know how to pray.
Right.
Or love to sing a song. If we can be a resource like that to help more life and beauty happen within your home and at your table, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah. And also through these next few weeks and this next season, looking on Instagram, we'll be posting poems once a week that reflect, that can be easily accessed just from your phone. So be on the lookout. There'll be some perfect poems for Christmas, but also New Year's, and different poems that can be read. So,
that's great.
Yeah,
That's
saturate
such a
that
great
environment.
Great reminder, right? And just to follow those little simple trails.
That's right. Nothing complicated.
Yeah. This poem is wonderful. You did it's so beautiful to be able to step into a moment, not look at it, but look through it. And you allowed us to do that. So if we could, we'd just love to read this. And I would invite you all, you mentioned it a second ago, like to prepare for those tables. And maybe that's what this can be, is to prepare in advance for how we'll set our tables, how we will bend time, but then also how, in light of what is taking place at our tables, how do we need to prepare? And maybe what is this call to mind for me, for who I may need to forgive,
right?
What I may need to pray, what I need to put down, what I need to tear up before I take my seat, so that I can take my place.
That's right. That's right. That's really good. I love that. That kind of soul preparation before sitting down. And if you're the one serving, there's an added sort of pressure, and that can be overwhelming. And, maybe that's just a good reminder to know that service is holy. It is a form of love. And, let our love be pure, and try and lay it down and just ask for that holy, God-given strength to serve people with a pure love. With pure love. I love the scripture. The quote. Even the humblest of tasks are beautified when loving hands do them. They really are.
Yeah.
And then if they're beautified through our love, they're lighter and more enjoyable to actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it impacts us, but also, like you said, what will our kids inherit? What will the folks who are, they don't yet have a home, but they're visiting our home, and soon, 2 years from now, they'll be setting their tables. Like, what are we handing down? And it's possible to plant some seeds that will produce great fruit in the seasons to come. So
love that.
Let's go back the table,
and
we'll finish with that.
Sounds good. The table is a field your laughter races across to find mine, rolling through the wheat beneath our crescent eyes so full of stars. Your shoulders shake, breath caught in a quake of joy. Steam rises to meet our tears from bread broken in bliss. This is our song, born of a long history of fire and cloud, grateful mouths open wide for miracles, for sustenance, for the yield of light and water woven through soil and seed. Steeped in the candle's amber, night pressing against the windows, we clap and pound the rhythms of what it means to be human. And I see, gathered around me, the salty, the sweet, the silly, the deep, breaking and sharing pieces of ourselves, drinking distillations of who we are and where we've been. You lean in, smile impish and wide, and embellish a story that warms our bellies. Our table is a stage, and all the parts are set until we reach a different age. But key players are missing, and a name spoken hangs in silence, as all that he was quivers in the mind's eye. Tonight we sit at an altar next to holy hands that have kneaded, mixed, and measured love, folding it into every bite. Nana's Sterling presides over an offering of fire as we taste and see that the Lord is good. And all the flavors mingling on our tongues, the saltiness of tears, the bitterness of history, the blessings in our glasses, eternity's lilt in our laughter will ring in the mouths of little ones as they tumble through the years. The table is the edge at which we soften our own. We are light and diaphanous as the lace that grazes our knees, so please pass the suspension of task and venture. Lend me your immortal eyes and pour me the wine, rosy and bright as your cheeks.